Yo, what's going on YouTube? Welcome back to another Minnesota Twins discussion video. This is the big one. This is the series preview between the Minnesota Twins and the New York Yankees for the ALDS starting on Friday. Now, I think, not only because I'm a Twins fan, of course, but I think this is going to be the most anticipated matchup of the playoffs besides the World Series. I mean, these two teams have got incredible bullpens and then incredible power with their electrifying offenses. I mean, these two teams are at the top of baseball, and this is going to be so much fun to watch. I honestly think this could be the best series of the year, and we've seen some pretty good series out of these two teams already. New York, of course, beating the Twins 4-2 in the regular season, but it's the postseason. It's different baseball right now, and we're going to go through the numbers here, the pitchers, projected lineups, and everything that's in between. So let's start with some news articles that I've read. I don't know if you guys keep up with, the news online, previews, all this kind of stuff, but I've been looking at a ton of websites, Yahoo Sports, Fox Sports, all the New York Times, Washington Post, everything that's out there. Can you guess what the one common theme is between all of the websites? They all care about what happened 15 years ago, and I am sick of it, okay? I know a lot of you guys have, commented about it as well. Maybe you're a little scared to play the Yankees because of what happened in 2017, what happened in 2010, 2009, 2004, 2003. All of that is in the past, okay? So this is what I'm saying. Yes, the Yankees have beat us before, but there's a big but in the way. Do those teams of the past compare to what this team has done this season? I'm going to make another video on this eventually. Do you know how many records the Minnesota Twins have broken this year? It's a lot. How about the best road record in baseball? Best franchise road record. Almost the best major league record in all of baseball on the road. Okay? What does that say for the teams in the past? Obviously, they couldn't win in New York because every time we went there, we got swept. Okay? What does it say about the leadership of this team? We have never had a guy like Nelson Cruz come in. Wes Johnson with the pitching staff. Rocco Baldelli even in his tactics. What did we have in 2017? Brian Dozier. Nothing against Brian Dozier, but he basically carried the team on his back. In 2009, 2010, who did we have carrying everything on his back? Joe Mauer, MVP, right? You take those two guys away, season falls apart, okay? Even 2017, you got Kepler, Buxton, Rosario, Sano. They're all in their sophomore season. They've matured now. They're doing so good, okay? So here's the main case in point of this point that I'm trying to make. Who cares about the past? This is a different team that is much better, and I think that'll show when we get into these numbers here. So let's start with the starting pitchers. Now, the Yankees have released who they are pitching game 1, 2, and 3. We have not. We've only released game 1, and that's Jose Barrios. Now, I don't know what you guys think. I like Jose Barrios starting. I think he is our ace. I think he deserves to start, but I would love to know your opinion. That's what this whole video, so this whole channel is for, is to listen to you guys as well. So Jose Barrios, he's starting game 1, and I think this sets him up perfectly for game 5, but I think there are some things that we could do to throw him out there in game 4 if we need to. Because do we really want Jose Barrios going, back to Yankee Stadium? Maybe he loses, maybe he wins, doesn't matter. Do we want him going back to Yankee Stadium in that same atmosphere for game 5? That's the question. The only other starting pitcher that they have listed on their roster is technically Jake Odorizzi. There's no word that Martin Perez or Kyle Gibson will start at all. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. I think that you can use them both out of the bullpen. We've seen them both be used out of the bullpen, and I think that really sets them up well for games where we might have to use an entire bullpen, like game 4 if they decide to go with 4 starting pitchers. But then you look at the Yankees starting pitcher. We'll go back to the Twins in a second. They've got James Paxton, Masahiro Tanaka, and Luis Severino. Now, I didn't even know if Luis Severino was going to pitch at all, but the thing is, he's pitching in Minnesota. That's interesting. I thought he would pitch game 2 if he pitched at all. I thought CC Sabathia would be pitching, but it looks like they're going a different route with that because CC's still hurt. This is really interesting. Now let's go back to the Twins. It'll be Barrios versus Paxton. I love this matchup for the Twins, especially being so good on the road. Barrios, I talked about it yesterday. He doesn't have to overpower guys with his fastball, but if he can really locate, that's going to change the game. Paxton, on the other hand, he is a lefty. This favors the Twins greatly. I think they were one of the best, if not the best, hitting team against left-handed pitchers in all of baseball. That favors us dramatically, especially on the road. I really, really like that. And it does set us up if they want to. I don't know what the Yankees are doing in particular, with a 3 or a 4-man rotation. Theories say that, you would think Dobnik is going to pitch game 2 or 3 for the Twins. Odorizzi would pitch the next one. And then I've heard if it goes to a 4th game, it'll be strictly bullpens from both teams, which I think favors the Twins, depending on how both teams use their bullpen in their first 2 or 3 games. But I think the first game of Barrios and Paxton really sets up the Twins well if they can get their lead and do well as they have all season against left-handed pitching. Next up, I think Odorizzi should pitch game 2 because he did really well in New York last time. He went like 6 innings, gave, 2 runs, I think? I can't remember the whole stats off the top of my head. I do apologize for that, but I think Odorizzi does better on the road for some reason, and especially if he can locate that high fastball, I think that is going to be the key. Most guys haven't really caught up to it this season. I think that's going to be the key to getting weak pop-ups, weak contact, and a lot of strikeouts in Yankee Stadium that could really silence the crowd and help us a lot there. Tanaka, he's been really good. He's been really bad. In fact, he has the second. Well, I guess, do you really count Luis Severino? Out of the 4 starting pitchers that they've listed, because they didn't list CC Sabathia, he's got the second highest ERA. J.A. Happ is the last one. He's got the highest ERA. Don't know if he'll actually start game 4 or not, but Tanaka, he's easily, really good or really bad. And I think if we throw Jake Odorizzi out there, he gives us a good chance. Every time Odorizzi goes out there, he gives us a very good chance to get some runs. And I think, if he can keep, like he's done all season, limit to 3 runs over 6 innings or so, that's going to give us a really good chance in Yankee Stadium to take game 2. Now, game 3, I do think it would be better to throw Dobnik out there, mainly because the Yankees haven't seen him this year, which I do think it would be interesting to see if they hold him off till game 5, and then you really use Barrios and Odorizzi maybe, and then the rest of the bullpen in their game 4. I think that could be really interesting, and then wait on Dobnik for game 5 if needed. Of course, the best idea would be to sweep, and then we don't even have to use Dobnik, or we use him, game 3 if we're up 2-0 and stuff like that. But if we waited until game 5, throw him in there in Yankee Stadium because they haven't seen him, and also if he continues to do as well as he's doing, that could really throw them for a loop in game 5. But that's a strategy that I don't think they're going to play. So reasonably, I think he goes out there game 3 against Luis Severino. Now, this is really interesting. Luis Severino's been hurt. Was he hurt or I think he was hurt all the year. He's only 1-1 with a 1.5 ERA. I think that's fine. Because if Luis Severino comes out and shuts us down, I think that sets us up fine for game 4. But if he doesn't, I think Dobnik keeps us in the game, at least, and then gets us to our bullpen in game 3, and we could go for the sweep there, of course, depending on the first 2 games. So that's the first 3 games. I think that's very reasonable for us to take a sweep if we can get out early, especially on the road like we've been doing. But even if we drop 1 game, Paxton and Tanaka are not the best pitchers that, we've seen. We've seen good pitchers this year, and we've hit off good pitchers well. I think that sets us up really good. Now, relievers. I know that this might be a little bit longer of a video, but relievers. I think our bullpen is heavily favored against theirs, especially, we've got Rogers, a really good left-handed pitcher. Sergio Romo comes from the side. If he can locate, he's going to be on fire. And then you've got Duffy, May, and Littell, who have done really well. And even if you throw Gratterall in there, we are living the dream. I mean, then it's just heat, high fastball, high fastball, high fastball. Here comes Sergio Romo. Whoop, see you later. I think that's really great. It's a very different dynamic that we've had in the past. very, very good. I think especially for Yankee Stadium, if we can locate that high fastball, that's going to be key. Their bullpen is good. It is very good at some cases, but they can't go all the time. I mean, like, same with Gratterall. Gratterall is basically a Chapman, and I put him out there for 1 inning maybe. But they can't use Chapman every time. And if they do, hopefully we see him enough where we can hit him. Or 2, he just doesn't do great if he keeps going out there several times. I think that, we trade him for Gratterall, okay? So we throw Gratterall out there 1 inning. They have to throw Chapman out there for 1 inning. They're both unusable for the next day. Britton, I don't even know who they would throw out there for a long time. I really don't know. Kale, is that the guy that they're going to throw out there for a while? We have guys who can go length. Okay, Baldelli hasn't really gone with them for a length of time. May's pitched an inning and a half. Littell can pitch 2 innings. They don't really have a guy. I mean, I don't really know who they would throw out there if they need to for a longer bullpen game, which I think, again, would set us up really well for Game 5 if they decided to go with a bullpen game for the entire time. That's just my opinion, though, and again, I think our bullpen is just stronger than theirs in general. We've done better throughout the course of the second half of the season. I think that sets us up really, really well. Now, finally, let's go over projected lineups. Mitch Garver, he's looking really great. I think he'll start against the lefty for sure. They don't know about Kepler. He is in the projected starting lineup at center field, which I think is fine, but they still don't know if he will start Game 1. And I think it's okay that he doesn't start Game 1 against a left-handed pitcher. Maybe get him in there, as a pinch hitter at some point, have that juice off the bench, but they don't know if he'll start Game 1. They also don't know about Luis Arraez. Okay, that's big. They have said that he's gotten a lot better, and he is definitely considerable for the roster, but they don't know if he will play, which really could be a good thing or a bad thing. But since we're playing a left-handed starting pitcher first, I think it's okay that we keep Kepler and Luis Arraez out if they need to be, and then just throw them in there as, pinch hitters if they really need to. Because Luis Arraez, if he can't run, stand in there with the bat, just flip it over the third baseman's head, walk down to first, and then, get the pinch runner in there. So there's definitely case scenarios that go along with that. I think Mitch Garver, though, he's going to be our starter versus a lefty, probably a lefty. There you go. Kepler would probably start against a righty. I think that's great, or Luis Arraez if he's actually feeling healthy. But I definitely think that is, best case scenario. Keep them out for the first game, and then work them in there with the second, third, fourth, fifth games. Slowly get them back in there, especially when we need them. But other than that, Mitch Garver, Jorge Polanco, Nelson Cruz, Sano, Rosario, Crone, Gonzalez, and Scope. Oh, and Cave. Sorry, Cave is in there too. Those guys are really going to have to step it up this season. In the playoffs here, we're going up against a pretty solid Yankee lineup. You guys know who's already in there: LeMahieu, Judge, Stanton, Encarnacion might come back here. So Gregorius, Torres, Urshela. Is he hurt still? I'm not sure. But Sanchez as well. I threw him in there. Gardner. They've got really good guys. I think if our pitching is just spot on, we're going to be okay. And if we can get to our bullpen, we're going to win some games. So that's all I got for you guys today. I know it was a little bit longer of a video. Hope you guys did enjoy it, though. Let me know what you guys think about all of it down in the comments below, about the pitching, the lineups, how we're going to work around things. But that's all I got for you guys today. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys did enjoy it. Make sure to leave a like. Make sure to subscribe. Come back tomorrow for the game, and we'll see you then.